王になるのは俺だ。
Hello people, and it's your boy Peppa Rob, and we about to talk about another theory. So today, I'm wondering how it took people so long to figure this out. Like, not even figure it out, because it could be wrong, but like, I'm wondering how nobody has presented this to like the One Piece community so far. Now basically, today I'm here to talk about Luffy's Devil Fruit Awakening. Yeah, like, what's gonna happen when Luffy's fruit awakens? So, okay, we're gonna use the context of what the other fruits that have awakened, like, what has happened based off their traits, like the type of fruit and like how the fruit works, because you know you have a whole lot of variations in certain categories. Like for Logia, you have a regular Logia, then you have like a food Logia, which would represent the guy that came in the non-canon thing with the sticky fruit, where Sanji gave Luffy the powder to defeat him. And we know for like Zoans or whatever, we have like the regular Zoans, then we have the mythical Zoans, then we have the 8 ancient Zoans. And for Paramecia, it's like all types for Paramecia, bro. It's comedic aspects, it's like, it's all types. But for now, we're gonna talk about Luffy, and we're gonna base his devil fruit based off others and their properties and why I believe his fruit is like this. So let's kick it off. Alright, so first of all, the only person so far that has demonstrated devil fruit awakening with a Paramecia fruit is Doflamingo, and Doflamingo's fruit is quite similar to Luffy's, but it's different in a way. Like based off the property of his fruit, like string. It's like the strings, you get it? And like Luffy's body is all rubber, but his is all string. And it's not like a Logia build, it's Paramecia, so if you hit him hard enough, he probably could feel it. So basically, the reason they have so many differences is because of like what the fruit is based off. Like, cause Luffy can't shoot rubber, you get what I'm saying? But Doflamingo could shoot strings, and if they both get shot, like the shots would be rebounded in Luffy's case, and in Doflamingo's case it would fly right through because he's made of purely strings. But they're basically the same. It's the same property. It's only that the strings and the fruit, the rubber, make it different. Because the rubber is one entity, but the strings are more than one. In terms of like the Paramecia fruit, the devil fruit awakening so far, Doflamingo basically turned Dressrosa in a string world around him. Everything was turning into string. Everything that was close by, that was like materialistic and not like human beings and all, just like things in the environment. Okay, Crocodile. Crocodile is another person that demonstrated devil fruit awakening, and his property, okay, he's Logia. His whole body is sand. So, based off what's happening here, he is a Logia, so we know basically automatically his body is gonna be like an element or close to an element, and like things could go right through him based off like the property. Now Doflamingo, he has a very similar property, but the thing is, like, for him, if you hit his face, I don't think that like the string is just gonna go away. It's just gonna maybe sink in. But like for Crocodile now, your head would go right through and his face would dissolve and all that, unless Doflamingo decides to switch like the string. He could just do that, like switch the string bodies he has. Now basically, based off what happened with these two, I'm gonna figure that Luffy, even though his property seems to be a bit different than the two others, I'm gonna say, okay, maybe the thing is, Paramecias and Logias, depending on your property of, like the property of your fruit, you gain control over the environment, or your fruit starts to branch out other than you and starts to affect stuff in your environment or your surroundings. That's what I'm getting from Logia and Paramecia fruits, depending on your properties. Now when I say properties, thinking about somebody like Buggy, or somebody like Gecko Moria, or somebody like, to someone like Robin. Like, you see how their properties are very different? Like, think about it. For Gecko Moria, how would his fruit affect the environment? So you're telling me that the buildings are gonna turn into shadows or whatever? I don't think so. Maybe a bit different. Can be. I don't know. But for Nika Robin, she already could just like produce limbs and arms and feet anywhere, like just on surfaces, and even on people. Like, what is her fruit gonna like? What is she gonna like affect? Like, she can already produce stuff. Is like, can she use her ability to turn buildings into like limbs or whatever? Maybe that is the case for her. But for somebody like Buggy, what's gonna happen? Is he gonna like turn buildings, like slice them up? Like, I don't know. Like, see, that's where the difference comes. But for Luffy, his body is his fruit. Like, his body, it's not to produce anything or to like affect anything outside of him, but it affects him. So he basically has that trait where he is the fruit. Like, the fruit affects his body and his body only. So I'm thinking it's something like that, where he could like control the environment too, because that's what I'm getting. Like, for certain people it might be different, but I'm getting that type of vibe. So I'm thinking basically the obvious thing that could happen for Luffy, and I might be wrong, but it just seems that it's right based off the context. His name is Monkey D. Luffy, right? If he has a awakening where the environment turns into rubber, I think that goes perfectly well with the name, the theme of the anime, like everything. Let's think about it. What if Luffy turns everything around him into rubber? Even the ground, the buildings, everything. So think about it. He's fighting somebody. He goes gear forth, and they're facing him, and there's a building exactly behind that person. And Luffy goes in. Gomu Gomu no Kong Punch. Boom. And that guy's flying like super fast to that building. And he just hits the building and just rebounds to Luffy so he could get another hit. Boom. He hits him with another hit or whatever, and that guy goes straight into the ground, and he goes way up in the air. And Luffy uses gear fourth in a way where he bounces, and he bounces heavily, and he could just spring off the ground and fly towards that person, go up above him or whatever, and just hit him, and then send him back into one of them rubber buildings, or like the environment made of rubber, and just they could just keep bouncing all day. And it's like a monkey D. Luffy. Like, it makes sense. He could just bounce off the environment and just fly, go all around, and like, just like, that makes a lot of sense if you think about it. And that's why I think his awakening will be entitled either Monkey World or Rubber World, where he affects the world, the environment around him in a way that he could manipulate it so he could bounce or travel quicker, and he could utilize gear fourth better due to like being able to bounce off the environment. Because the bouncing, remember, gear fourth, like the bound man or bounce man or whatever, pound man, that is all about bouncing. So I'm thinking that he could manipulate both of gear fourth and awakening so that gear fourth works to his advantage. And that's why it makes a lot of sense. Think about it, a rubber world where Luffy could bounce around, hit his opponent so they can't escape. They could just hit, come back, boom, another hit, come back, boom, 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 and he has them in this place. Like, he could even use that Bellamy type attack where he's just bouncing around, and like the person is bouncing around after they got hit, and then he just connects like a final blow or whatever. And like, it makes a lot of sense. So I'm thinking Luffy's awakening is either Rubberworld or Monkey World, and like this goes well with the other awakenings we've gotten so far. And based off the property of his fruit, his body is rubber, he is his fruit, and I think that's what it's gonna be. So it's your boy Peppa Rob. Subscribe, like, share, tell your friends, comment, and we're gonna come with new content pretty soon. So show me some support, and thank you for everybody that watched the video. Hit the like button below. Thank you. I also didn't really speak much about Zoans, because basically it's obvious what's gonna happen. Once a Zoan awakens his fruit, he's stronger, he has more regenerative abilities and stuff like that. That's simple. That's not for Logias and Paramecias. Also, another thing that could add on to his fruit is that he could control like the hardness, like the durability of the rubber. So like say he hits you now and you fly in the rubber and it's mad hard, so you hit it, it's like a brick wall. So at the end of the day, it's not all that soft, but when you're about to come back, he could just reduce the durability so you could fly towards him. So that makes sense too. Yeah, just had to put that out there. Like, subscribe, share, boy.